Hail and greetings all. Ragnarok Prepper here. Just having a few more thoughts on my way out to the stand. What is the reason for fear? And I'm specifically talking about the fear of nature and the fear of the woods. Why has that been ingrained in us? It's completely unnatural. There's no spooky monster hiding behind every log. There's no wild coyote that's coming to eat you, or a grizzly bear that's going to rip your head off. All these stories, these falsehoods that are put into our mind that keep us away from the natural part of our lives. This connection with nature is essential. This connection with the land around you, connection with the people, the animals, all of these things are essential for you to live a whole and complete life. We'll talk more about this later, but I just wanted to start broaching the subject now before I get too deep in the woods. So we can't help to wonder where this hylophobia comes. And I think a lot of it has to do with perceived danger over real danger. It's more a fear of loss of control, perhaps, in an environment where you are not the master, where you must interact or react. I think that's where a lot of people's fear comes from. I mean, I'm sure there are plenty of other fears that can be compiled to lead to hylophobia. Things like zoophobia, fear of animals. But the reality is that those animals aren't out here to hurt you. And most times, they want nothing to do with you. Anyone who spends time hiking, hunting, in the outdoors knows that 9 out of 10 times, if not 99 out of 100 times, the animal is going to take off as soon as they notice you. They don't sit around. They have no desire to interact with you, or vice versa. They're here living, and they know that staying away from us is better for them. There's not a bear behind that tree. And I've seen bear here, 20 yards away from me, and all he did was keep on trucking. I'm sure he smelt me. I was up in a tree. But he had no desire, no interest, no curiosity at all. I'm sure I was more amazed than he was. You hear all kinds of horror stories, and that's the problem in today's world, I think. Hiker attacked by buffalo. All kinds of crazy headlines that are so rare and so unrealistic that when you boil it down to why did these things happen, most often you find that human was doing something they shouldn't have. That human didn't have a realistic expectation of what should occur. They forgot that these animals are wild. They're so out of touch with nature that they want to play emotion and other foolish things that lead to these dangerous situations. I guarantee you that buffalo, that elk, that moose did not go and plan its day saying, I'm going to find me a human. No, it doesn't happen like that. That's a fallacy, and one that we need to forget about. Yes, you need caution. Yes, of course, you need caution everywhere you go. You need caution when you step out of your door and walk down the city street. It's just a fact of life. Then there's also nyctophobias, the fear of the dark. They even have a special name for fear of the dark in the woods, the Hylophobia. But I think that's more also linked back to fear of the unknown. It's even worse now because I can't see what's out there. I can't see behind that tree. I can't see 2 feet in front of my face. But it's still an unfounded fear. Reality shows us that there is nothing to fear. I've spent hours upon hours and days upon days in the woods, and I have never been attacked by anything. No vampires, no Bigfoot, nothing. I've lain next to coyotes in the woods and they didn't even know I was there. Like I said, I've been next to a bear, deer. I've had birds perch on my shoulder, on my gun. Never once did they attack me. I've had owls fly and land on the branch next to me. Maybe they were curious, but they didn't come to hurt me. I think the only thing you have to fear in the dark is running into a tree, tripping over a log. These are all things that can happen anytime. You could trip on a sewer drain or a park bench. Which brings me back to my thoughts before. It's more of a xenophobic thing. The fear of the unknown. The fear of not being in control of your environment. But that's not our job. Our job is not to control nature. It's to interact with it. To be a part of it. To be in touch with the earth. The natural seasons. Our cycles, our body cycles match the cycles around us. And the more we sit and the more we fight against nature, the less success we have. I think really this fear of the woods comes from a lack of experience. A lack of actually spending time in nature. People just aren't out there these days. And when they are, they're told, stay on the path. Don't explore. Don't touch anything. Just walk. Follow the paved path. But doing that your whole life, you're never going to learn. You're never going to grow. You're never going to experience anything. You got to get out there. You got to be a part of it. And the only way to do that is to experience it. To get out there, to get dirty. To identify that tree, that leaf. Take your kids out. Get them involved. There isn't a child I know that doesn't love spending time in nature. We have to cultivate these things in our children. They are the future. And if we have irrational fear, all we're going to do is teach that to them. And that's something they don't want to learn. They don't need to learn. There's enough scary things in this world. They don't need to have false fear. They don't need to think that there's a snake in every pile of weeds. There's a lot more than that, and chances are there's really not a snake there. Take hold of yourself and those around you. Spend time in nature. Get rid of this fear. It has no place. It only cripples you. I've even seen there were studies done where they believe that now that we are the top of the food chain and the most dangerous predators there are, that it's come to a point where we need to create our own monsters. We need something to fill that gap. Something on an instinctual level. I can't argue with instinct. Instinct is a valuable tool. But I'm willing to bet if you go out and spend a weekend camping in the woods, or spend some time hiking in the woods, you're going to have a great time. You're going to learn a lot about yourself and the world around you. And you're not going to get attacked by a monster or a bear or any of this other illogical fears. You should count yourself lucky if you see that animal. You really should. It's a blessing. But that's all I'm going to ramble about for now. So until next we meet, be well. Thanks for watching.